Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to What Had Happened Was. What had happened
What had
was.
happened was
What had happened was. I'm
what
Karyn Bryant here. Oh,
what
wait, sorry, you were going to give another good one. Sorry.
what had happened was
What?
yes. That's all I had.
It's
I'm
so
sorry.
funny because,
I'm
like, for
super
people
quick.
who, if you've ever taken an acting class, you know how, like, one of the things is like you take words and you just repeat them and you keep going and you try to change how you could phrase it and stuff. And so on the one hand,
Exactly.
you would go, yeah, I was gonna say, where's your mic? One of them you would
Yeah,
say,
it's like okay. Yeah, that's why it sounded
what had
weird.
happened was, and then you'd go, what had happened was, what had
What
happened was.
what had happened was, and then you could say what had happened was.
What or what had happened was. And so
What
yeah,
had happened was.
what so anyway, what had happened was KB and Angie with you. If it's your first time watching us, welcome. This is episode 55. We like to say we're an MMA show for people who maybe newer to MMA, or maybe you're an OG too, but maybe you like some of these shows. There's too many dudes and too many
Too
stats and foreheads and
still.
stuff,
It's
and
the
we just want to be more
same
welcoming.
thing over and over again. And we're just trying to have fun, We're just, two gals who've been around the MMA scene, and we kind of we know our shit, but at the same time, we're not super serious.
Right.
We're not gonna bash you for not knowing I don't know, what's a non-casual thing to know.
Well, what a the difference between a Kimura, or the difference between a Gogo Plata and an Omoplata. Like, if you don't know
Yeah.
right now, like, we're not going to kick you out.
Yeah, we're not gonna. The difference between like an anaconda and a dart stroke. Like, we're not gonna get mad at you. We're not gonna get
Right.
super mad. Usually, mostly because I mix that up a lot.
I was just about to say, mostly because they're so close, and it's really just
Mostly
like one thing
because
about the exactly. It's about like how it's angled underneath.
yeah, I think the
Right.
anaconda is arm is closest to your chest, and oh wait, no, Darce's arm is closest to your chest. Anaconda's head is closest to your
Closer
chest.
to the chest.
Yeah, Darce
Either,
anaconda.
either way, I want to say hi to some of the folks that have already joined us. Joe Boza, what's up? VT, what's up? Lucio
Hey.
Cortez, what up? Jesus M. Yeah, we're going to be talking about, the UFC card that went down last night, UFC Vegas 50. We'll look ahead to UFC London, and take some of your questions and some other stuff. But also, Ange, you had a big week because you were out at Invicta too, right?
Yeah, we were out in Invicta. Unfortunately, my girl Paulina didn't get the win. She fought a
Mm.
really tough girl, but it was fun, And the weird or the kind of humbling thing about being at Invicta is that Paulina Granados, the girl that I was cornering, went to the very first Invicta one, and I forget who was headlined by, but my girl Jessica Penne was also on that
Mhm.
card. So many great female fighters started on that card. When I found out about it, I had already decided I was going to be a Muay Thai fighter for life. I wasn't trying to do MMA at all. And I saw Rose get her flying armbar, and I saw Jessica have her super bloody match with Lisa Ellis. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of history there. What was it? There was another one. There was another super famous one I remember watching. But just all the chicks who are big deals right now started in Invicta
Yeah.
FC. So go and check out the archives if you haven't. You can see a young Amanda Nunes, a young Chris Cyborg. Just
Yep.
every who's who of MMA has been on there.
Was Tracy Cortez over there?
She was not, but she's like the next generation of MMA fighters. Like, she got into it because her brother,
Brother, I
I
think. Right.
believe,
Yeah.
was in the UFC. So she's like second, third generation. She's the generation I'm like, I don't feel like fighting them because they're gonna be like training everything from birth, and I'm
Right.
gonna be annoyed about it. But
Yeah,
like,
for
that's
sure.
her generation. But like the Jessica Penne's,
Yeah, for
the
sure.
Sarah Kaufmans,
Yes.
the Julie Kedseys, like, they all came up
Mhm.
in an era where there wasn't a lot out there,
Yeah.
and they just made it work because they loved the sport so much. So yeah, there's a lot of who's who that came out of there.
Very cool. Yeah, no, for
Yeah,
sure. And Shannon's doing a great job over there, and,
she
yeah.
is. She is.
It's cool. Well,
And Shannon just got inducted to the MMA Hall of Fame. So
nice.
that's
Good
another
for
big
her.
thing too. Shannon Knapp, president of Invicta FC. Good for you. Super,
Big
super happy
ups.
for you. Thank you for paving the way for
That's
little
right.
bits like me who just like to punch bitches in the face. Thank you, Shannon.
That's right. VT is saying Invicta reminds him of what LFA is today. Yeah, it's kind of like that. It's like a
Yeah.
great feeder league. Yeah,
Yeah.
Joe Bose is saying Invicta. Oh, here, I forgot, folks. Look at this. Joe Bose is saying Invicta was a great card too. Surprising to get MMA on a Wednesday. I know, right? I know. Plus, they had Michelle Watterson as the fourth member of the commentary team. That's right. Michelle was commentating and stuff. So yeah,
Yeah.
very, very
She
cool.
was
Okay,
very
so
cordial.
yes. Sorry. Okay,
I'm like,
so we want to talk about UFC Vegas 50 and stuff. So here's what I'm gonna do first, Ange. I'm gonna play around for a second here. I'm gonna see if I can shift our layout for a second.
whoa.
Okay,
Okay.
we're going to this one. Okay, now let me see if I throw this up where it's gonna fit.
You got to do
Oh,
like
it's right over us still.
nice.
Okay, yeah,
That's
but wait a
cool
minute. So
though.
I think we could still just go back to full size then,
You
I guess.
gotta act
So
like
I'll
you're
just
doing it like what was that movie with Tom Cruise and his eyeballs got popped out? What was that movie?
eyes wide shut.
No,
Oh, I know. What do you
yeah,
call it? The one where
the
they can preview, they see the murders in
yeah,
advance
the
and stuff like that.
precogs
Yeah, the
and
precogs.
you gotta
I
do
just was watching that the other day. What
that's
the
what
heck
you
is it
have to
called?
do
Somebody
when you
will know
change
in
the
the comments
layout.
with the precogs. Like I
Yeah, somebody
literally
in the comments tell us what
was
it is.
just.
A
It's
movie with the
called.
precogs.
It's a something. It's a two-word name. It's the. It's all I can think of right now is mission.
I
It's not
keep thinking
the
Minuteman.
something. It's like the something. Oh, for crying out!
Oh God, it's on the tip of
Loud.
my tongue. Please come.
Who knows the name of that movie with the
I might have
precogs?
to
Come
look
on,
it
people.
up.
I'm gonna have to just look it up anyway. Anyway,
Yeah, I
I'll
didn't
think
want
about it.
to. I wanted to figure it out
I
with my
know what it
brain.
is. It's right on the tip of my head because
Oh,
I
it's
was just
pissing me
thinking.
off. I'm not
I
gonna look it
start.
up. I'm gonna
It
try to
starts.
see.
I still wait. I know what it is. People at home listening are yell. They're gonna yell.
This
Minority Report.
Minority Report.
I'm glad I got it. I'm like that would have driven
Oh,
me crazy. That would have driven
dude,
me
I'm
crazy.
so happy you got it. I'm a little
Yes.
sad I couldn't think of it, but
Yes.
very
Yes.
proud of you. Good job.
Okay. So
So yeah,
unfortunately,
layout.
I thought the layout thing was gonna work. Okay, so that did it. Well, I'm just gonna pop it up over us. So anyway, so these are the bonuses here. Just lean to your yeah. So the bonuses went to Cody Brundage, Azamat Mirzakhanov, Khalil Rountree Jr., and Song Yadong.
Oh,
And
hey.
so those were well earned because listen, Ange, Azamat Murakhanov, he came with that third round knockout, flying knee knockout, and he was kind of losing that fight to Tafon Chukwi. And he came and got that third round knockout. What's his face? Brundage got it because he was getting pwned by Dalcha Lungum. I can never say his name. Lungiambula. Cody was getting owned and then came up with that submission.
Dang. Okay.
Song Yadong beat Marlon Moraes. We know in the co-main event he knocked him out, and Khalil Rountree got that second round knockout of Carl Robertson. So that's why those folks got those bonuses. So there was no fight of the night. Just those four guys all got bonuses.
Nice. I mean, there were so many finishes. I'm kind of happy that happened because man, that was nuts. But I am a little sad that our boy T-Rex didn't get a performance bonus, like a fight of the night bonus, because in my opinion, even though it was only a round, that fight was the craziest fight I have seen to date this year. Like that was insane. T-Rex versus Dober. Like it was just like back and forth. Rex came out strong. You know, he did the thing that he always does, which I was surprised because Dober is a legit contender. Like he's a legit competitor. And
Absolutely.
he put Dober on his butt, and Dober was able to survive, show his durability and his veteran smarts and come back and get the win. So that was a crazy fight. And it really was a testament to, you know, having that courage as an undefeated fighter. That courage is like not undefeated, but just someone coming in with a lot of heat behind them, being new to the UFC and you know, having a lot of hype, and also just being a finisher And then you have Dober, who has gone to decision a lot, who has like won and lost a lot, and he was able to just keep his composure in those hairy spots and get the win. So it was a really telling fight to me, and I'm sad our boy T-Rex didn't get a bonus for at least the damage he did in the first half of that first round.
Yeah, it's funny, and I just realized here, Angie, I had said, I didn't get the B-roll clips in time, folks. I wanted to have a bunch of B-roll for you, and we didn't get it in time. And I just remember, so I thought I had still shots, and now I'm realizing here on this thing that like you can't actually load in still shots. Like I have them in the wrong format, so that's my bad. I thought I could just throw the pictures up, but they're in the wrong format. So I'm sorry about that. But Drew, yes, to your point, I understand what you're saying, like, because T-Rex is so great. And folks, like Angie was saying, he was a guest on our show a couple weeks back before his fight with Faraz Ziam, which he did win. And so he came on here and was talking to, so the cool thing about T-Rex in this case is he did sign a new contract before that fight. So even though that's his first loss in a long time, and he had all these first round finishes in a row, so that's like the first time, he had to go to the second round, or not the first time, but but so even in defeat, there was a lot of upside for him still taking the short notice fight. It was a 2-week turnaround. He signed a new contract. He fought a guy like Drew. And the thing about it is Drew has so much experience, and Drew was a great test for him because if anything, T-Rex should feel, he should feel good about this. He went up with a real veteran who's just been on the skirting the rankings for so long. Drew has been in there with Beneil Dariush, Islam Makhachev. He's been in there with like some of the best guys on the planet. And so for T-Rex to go in there and see what he did to Drew, like blitz him like that, I would still think that he should come away with a lot of faith in himself. And the other thing, to consider, Drew is not a guy that's easily dispatched. I don't know how many times, if ever, like, the guy's very rarely ever been finished, right? He's now in like third place with the most knockouts in the lightweight division. So Drew's the real deal. And for me, to see what Terrence did there, that should give him a lot of faith in himself. And I just do think that there could have been a part of his body, no matter what his head said, that his body in there all of a sudden that was just like, oh crap, like we just did this 2 weeks ago. You know what I mean? Like we just did this 2 weeks ago. Like, I don't know if there was a major adrenaline dump. You know what I mean?
I get that, but I do feel like that performance might have happened with a camp. I think maybe the excitement of jumping back in there and making history, maybe that made him just empty the gas tank as soon as he smelled blood. And I think after this fight, because that's the hard part, right? Because he has never gone to a second round, or very rarely gone to a second round, has never gone to a decision. He doesn't know how to like wait, he's just like all in 110%, like maximum effort, and it's hard to balance that because you don't want to take away what makes him so special. And that is his ability to just go, okay, balls to the walls until the person falls down or I fall down from exhaustion. And it's tough because like, you don't want to, I guess, just make him boring. You don't want to take away what makes him exceptional. And that's a lot of it is his ability to do that. Because for me, when I start to get tired, my brain says, okay, let's reset, as soon as I like unload, even if I'm whooping them and they're hurt and I'm tired but they're obviously more tired, I might take a second, get my breath back, and then start going again. And he doesn't have that filter. He doesn't have that like inner monologue saying, hey, let's chill out, because he's like, no, we're about to finish this fight. So I like that about him. I think if anything, he just has to figure out how far he can push that if the person's super tough. And I think Drew Dober is the toughest person that he's fought so far in his career. So now he sees, okay, this is an issue that I have to address if I want to break into the top 5. So that's the only thing. He just needs that little backup plan so he doesn't just empty out all the like ammo on the guy and now all he can do is melee him. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. For the Twitch people.
And that makes a lot of sense. And it's funny though too, because I was working with Lionheart and Sugar right? And
Oh,
so, of
sure.
course, yeah, my guys, and so, I mean, they're all my guys, but those are like my home, those are like my
The
homies.
homies
That's a
chilling
homies.
with the
And
homies.
so, Anthony said he and Drew, I think he said like they debuted on the same card like way back when, like that. So those two have
Oh
known
no
each other
way.
forever. And so he's like, he calls him what he calls him Nebraska tough with Colorado cardio or something like that. And so, because so we were, I was like, I love me some Terrence. And I saw Terrence before the fight, and he's just got that beaming smile, like he's just the
I
most lovable kid.
know,
Like you just
cheek to
can't.
cheek. Just I want to pinch his cheeks. He's so
Right.
cute.
But Drew is a great guy, and so it wasn't
Yeah,
necessarily that we were in opposition, me and Anthony, but it was like, of course, he wanted his homie to win,
yeah,
and so it looked real bad for Drew right away, and so Anthony was kind of nervous, but then he weathered the storm and he went through it, and like
yeah.
Anthony was all like, and so we were joking that he was like walking around like, oh, that's my boy,
Oh yeah, all
but
puffed up.
yeah, all pumped up, but yeah, no, Drew definitely did, I think, illustrate, yeah, that there's a difference between the veterans, like that he's, and especially him, that he's
Mhm.
especially a guy that is very hard to get rid of.
Yeah, and he is just like built for the sport. Like
He's a
talking
tank.
talking about cheeks you want to pinch. Like look at that guy. Like come on, he is built to last, to say the least.
Yes,
He's
built
got some
to
good wheels on
last.
him.
That's right. Well,
Definitely.
Musio Cortez, I will show. Musio says, "What do y'all think about Dober calling out Bobby Green?" And I love it.
That is an amazing fight. I love that fight. They've both been in the same position in their careers where they have like missed some, gotten some big ones. And I think this would be great because it's going to be exciting. I feel like it's going to be a stand-up match, even though they can
Mhm.
both hold their own on the ground, but they're not like stallers, like neither
No.
one of them, if they get a takedown, they're going for a submission or they're tossing a person so they can stand up and they can kick him in the face. Like that's why I like this fight, because it's going to be high pace and they both have knockout power. So
Mhm.
super excited if they get that one. And I don't see why not, because they're about like they've probably been in the UFC about the same amount of time, I feel like.
About the same
So
time, yeah.
so it's one of those like when people's careers just kind of align, then
Mhm.
you wonder why they haven't fought yet. So I really like that one.
You're right. Well, and it's funny because for Drew, he's 33 years old,
Mm.
and that was his 24th win. So Drew's record is now 24 and
He
11 with one
dope.
no contest. And so yeah, when I mentioned that he's on the list now with the knockouts. So Poirier has the most knockouts in lightweight with 8. And Drew is on there with 6 now. So Poirier has 8. Edson Barboza and Melvin Gillard have 7. And then BJ Penn, Drew Dober, Cowboy Cerrone, and Joe Lozon each have 6. So
Dang.
yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Let's
So we're
go
getting some comments
through.
in from everybody. So it's good to see you guys. So yeah, I think that it was nice for Terrence, to a good experience. I feel like in a lot of ways too, that could have been the worst. I mean, the best way to lose, right? Because like you said, he got to show out in that first round, have something really
Yeah.
exciting, and then I don't think any shine came off his name with that loss.
No, for sure, for sure. It's just always nice to see like the new kids get money, because then
Yeah,
that light, that fire is gonna be lit no matter what.
yeah.
And it means a lot more for the kids who are at the lower end of the pay scale
Mhm.
than people like Drew, who have however many UFC fights, and he's probably making a lot more than Terrence McKinney. So it's always nice when someone who just got into the UFC puts on a killer performance and then
Yeah.
is rewarded for it. So that's the only reason I'm like, man, give a fight of the night. Come on, come
Yeah, but
on.
I
Someone
think
needed
didn't
their loss uplifted, right?
didn't he get a bonus though for submitting Faraz a couple weeks ago though?
Oh, he probably did. They're
He
like, this
probably
kid
did,
has
right?
enough money. He has
Yeah, he
enough.
probably did, and he just signed a new deal. So yeah. Okay, so I do want to get your take on a couple of things. We may as well just get into the
Oh,
co-main, since he was also a bonus winner again.
you should
The
put Peak 99's comment up there. What the
Okay.
shit?
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say, because again, here
Oh.
here are the bonuses. So I wanted to
Okay.
I wanted to ask you about Song Yadong, but yeah, wait,
Yeah, what
wait,
the shit?
wait, wait,
I love that.
wait, wait,
I love
wait,
that
wait, wait,
saying.
wait.
What entire nation?
TK99, what the shit? I love you. Love you right back. Hey,
Yay!
hey, hey, hey.
That just
And
made me
yeah,
crack up.
yeah. What is this one? With somebody's
Oh,
who are
poop.
they
Oh
pooping at? I'm not
no.
Sean Cousins. I'm not sure. Okay, so yeah. So what did you think
There's a
of
delay. We're not sure what you were referring
not sure what you're
to.
referring to, and we'll get to the main event after this. But I'm curious what your take was on Song Yadong. So Song Yadong, he got a first round knockout of Marlon Moraes. Coming into this fight,
Dude.
Marlon was ranked number 10. Song Yadong was ranked number 14. But Marlon was the underdog, because he's been on a little bit of a tough go of it. Song Yadong was the favorite. He proved why he was. This was a real tough one because for a quick little backstory, Moraes had gone to Thailand. He was training alongside Piotr
Oh.
Jan. He was saying he'd gone to Tiger Muay Thai. He was saying he felt reinvigorated. He's been this close to the title. He can taste it again. He made some adjustments. He was feeling really good about himself. But he came in here and Song Yadong's just been on a tear. He's been on a win streak, knocked
Yeah.
him out. And the thing about it is what we were, kind of wondering at work is, with Marlon, he has been knocked out a few times in a row now. Is it just that his chin now is a little questionable? And I'm curious if he can go up in weight, if that would make a difference. I know Marlon is on the smaller side in terms of height, but in terms of stature, he's a thick guy. And I'm curious if maybe he should look to, consider going up in weight, or if he just needs an extended break, because Marlon is incredibly talented. It's
Yeah.
just that his button's been pushed a few times now.
Dude, and that's the tough thing because I was just looking through his last few fights, and he got knocked out by Henry Cejudo about 3 years ago, and then most of his fights he's been knocked out after that. So I mean, people are talking about him taking his gloves off after the fight. I don't know if that was a thing that maybe the I don't know, the show actually missed. Like if it was like an actual gesture of I'm taking my gloves off for the last time, or if he was just like, get this shit off of me, I want to go home. There's two different ways to take your gloves off. So he might have retired after that fight. I don't know, but it's definitely something. If I were a loved one of his, I would say think about retiring because that's too many knockouts in a row. It's not about your
Yeah.
legacy at that point. It's about your mental health in 10, 20 years. Like he can have all sorts of brain damage, early onset Alzheimer's, CTE, depression, suicidal tendencies. Like there's all sorts of things that happen from being concussed that many times. And I don't know. It really does make me scared and sad for him because he is so talented. We've seen people retire for less when it came to their health. We've seen people who's the guy who won tough and then he was an alpha male kid and he ended up having to retire because
Yes.
of the
Yeah.
brain thing. Same with
Not
Ashlyn Daly. She
Yeah, because he had
also,
gotten knocked out. He got beat up. The stories.
yeah.
Hold it down, Holdsworth. Chris Holdsworth.
Yes, Chris Holdsworth. It's really important. I feel like, especially if you're not having success when you're not getting knocked out. You know what I mean? Like it's only a matter of time at this point that he gets knocked out in these high level fights. And part of it is because he's fighting the top of the division,
Just gonna
you
say.
know. And as they were starting, the fight started, and I'm looking at the rankings like 10 versus 15. I'm like, man, poor Marlon. Like he's just slowly going down the rankings, but he's still getting the toughest motherfuckers in the division. And that's the worst part for someone who's concussed or who has had a concussion in more than a couple of his fights. He just keeps getting the hardest hitters. He keeps getting the slickest people in the division. And I feel like going up in weight class isn't going to help that. I feel like, yeah, your chin may be a little more sturdy, but you're still going to be going up against harder hitters, and now you're going to be like way shorter, so you have to
Yeah.
fight differently too. It's just like he's not a tall bantamweight,
No, he's not.
like he's super short. He's yeah, man, I don't know. It's a tough one. But he might feel more healthy at that weight. He might hit harder at that weight. We remember when everyone was calling him One Punch Man.
Yeah,
You know,
right.
your daughter knows about
Yeah,
Saitama, you
totally.
know. So everyone was calling him One Punch Man for a reason. So maybe it's worth having one fight at 145 just to see, you know,
That's what I'm saying.
if that's the answer.
I think I before he hangs it up, and I think you make very valid points. But before he hangs it up, I'd like to see him try 10 pounds heavier to see if it makes a difference.
Yeah. Just why not? Why
You
not?
know, why
Yeah,
not? Because he's so talented.
he is.
And that's the thing though, like I was out there watching that one by the octagon, and they
Oh.
came out and I was just like, holy crap, like they're so fast. They're so fast. And it was just like, like holy crap. And like just incredible. And as much as I am sorry for Marlon and wish him the best and hope he finds an answer here or find some peace in retirement, with all of the amount of care and concern I have for him is how much excitement I have for Song Yadong. Because if you guys are watching this on my YouTube channel, you can go back and look. I have an interview with Song Yadong from like 2013. He was a teenager
Oh
fighting
my
in a
god.
league in China, the RUF, RUFF. And I have an interview with him from Inner Mongolia. He's like this baby. I'm interviewing
Are you
him, and
speaking
it's
Chinese?
he's no, I wasn't. He has an interpreter,
Oh,
but
okay,
like
that's good.
so yeah, so I've known him, quote unquote, known him now for quite some time. And so when I was in Shenzhen a couple years ago, I did see him there and we were talking, and I really like that kid. So
Yeah.
I have like a vested interest in Song Yadong, and to me, like if I get to see him become a champion someday, like there's a real part of me that just is very excited for him and has been rooting for him for so long. And, like the cool thing is he called out Dominic Cruz after the fight. It's a great story because not only would that be really interesting, Dominic is obviously ahead of him in the rankings. Like I said, Song Yadong was number 14 before this fight. He just took out number 10. So
Mm.
maybe he'll switch places with Marlon. But he called out Dominic Cruz. Dominic is, I think, number 4 or 5 or so around there
I
right
think
now.
so, because he just
Yeah,
beat Munoz.
right.
So,
He's
yeah.
up there, and so it would be a good fight for Song, and then also the whole backstory with him being an alpha male guy against Dominic. There's layers to that story. I like that.
Of course, of course. The alpha, it's so funny. The vendetta
It'll
of
never
all the
die, and you
alpha
know
male
that.
guys versus, and it's
It'll
only
never
Dom.
die.
Like there's
It's
not
only
like
Dom.
other fighters to fight from Alliance. Is only Dom versus
It's Dom.
all of alpha male.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it is really cute that
Well,
keeps
Omega
happening.
is
But
saying that the corner didn't let Moraes put his gloves down. So I don't know if Omega is saying that he thinks
oh,
Marlon wanted to or not, but
maybe,
um
yeah, maybe he wanted to, and the corner was like, pick that shit up.
yeah. Well,
Stop
Musio is
it.
saying Song was looking very good in his last few fights. I don't think he peaked at an early age. He's only 24. Like he didn't peak. That's
He's
what's so
24
exciting.
now.
Dude, he's 24
What
now.
the fuck?
That's what I'm
Jesus.
saying.
Ugh.
So that's what I'm saying. So the first time I
Fucking
interviewed
kids.
him was a long time ago. The
Fucking
kid is
kids.
so
Gen X. Gen X
dude,
MMA.
Song Yadong is 24 years old and his record is already now 19-5-1 with one
Fuck.
no contest. So you guys, if you're not on the Song Yadong train, get on it because
Get
he's a
on
lot of
songs
fun.
Yadong.
Get on
Get
it.
on.
Jump on that. Jump on
Jump
it.
on songs Yadong.
He said he wanted to fight 3 times this year, and maybe he will get to. But yeah, I'm excited for him. I'm excited for him. Okay, so
Cool.
let's see. Let's move to okay. So what did you think, Ange, about the main event then? Thaigo Santos was defeated by Magomed Ankalaev. Ankalaev got the unanimous decision.
Okay.
Magomed coming into this was number 6, and Thaigo was number 5 before the fight. So they could switch places. Anthony was saying he wasn't sure what was, because Lionheart is currently number 4. And so we were like, okay, the winner of this fight can just fight Anthony next because he doesn't have a fight lined up. Like obviously Prochazka's fighting Glover. Or I think Rakic is fighting what's his face, Jan, and so Anthony's kind of the only guy left without a fight. So he could fight. He could fight Magomed now, Ankalaev.
Do it. Like, let's go. It's either that or waiting, right? Because
Or
it's
wait
all
for a title
bogged
shot,
up.
right?
It's all bogged up at the top. And you know, I don't know. Is it like I gotta be honest? I only watched half of that fight because Bellator was on at the same time, so I was
Oh,
watching
was
my
Phil
boy.
fighting?
Well, JJ opened up the card, so I was watching JJ Wilson's fight. Or wait, no, is that
No,
his name?
JJ Aldrich was on our. Wait, no, you're
No,
talking
no,
different
no.
JJ.
JJ the Maori kid. He
Okay.
was fighting another like Russian wrestler dude, and it was like it was a close fight, but he got like out Russian, and I feel like the same thing kind of happened with the Santos fight. He just got out Russian. He just when I would turn back to Santos versus Ankalaev, it was punches to back take to some kind of like mat return or riding the back or getting the takedown and sitting in the half guard and that type of thing. So it really is crazy how this style is taking over MMA.
Well, Ankalaev didn't really get like he didn't. He only had Thiago was only down a little bit. Like Ankalaev,
Maybe it was
most,
just the last 2 rounds.
you must have because it didn't
Yeah.
really happen because honestly, like we were kind of laughing about that, but not laughing, but looking at it beforehand because Ankalaev has 0.0 submission attempts. You know what I mean?
Omega
And, like,
says, you don't have 2 monitors.
Oh Jesus, no, we
That's
don't.
so great.
But so
sorry,
yeah,
I was on my
yeah,
couch.
exactly. And so yeah, no, Magomed did get him down at one point. We actually thought it would have been smarter for him to take him down more, but Magomed is not necessarily, even though he is, Dagestani and all that, like he's not as much of a takedown guy as some of the other ones,
not as much a smasher.
as not as much. But honestly,
Okay.
like watching that fight and somebody will say this person, I'm going to put it up here, Den Tijen, Anthony will take Magomed. Well, that's exactly it. And I 100% agree with you. And Anthony 100% agrees with you as well. And that was the whole thing. Is like we were kind of we were watching this fight and Anthony was like, yeah, I feel pretty good about this. You know what I mean?
Why? Tell me why.
Because honestly, not for nothing, like because he to me, going into that fight, I was kind of hoping that we would see the old school Thiago, and I was hoping for like a head kick knockout. When Maheta is on, he's really on, and there were some moments that Maheta kind of turned it up and blasted, and you could tell that he still has that ability. But I felt like in this fight, he was too much behind the black line. Like there was too much of, even though Magomed wasn't necessarily doing a lot with it, I think he was controlling where the thing played out. But like it wasn't a high output fight, you know what I mean, for either guy and stuff like that. So it was a lot of kind of the same thing. So I'm just saying, watching that fight, I know Anthony, and Anthony said it himself, but I even know just watching him, I'm like, well, Anthony's not afraid of Magomed. Magomed has kind of been the boogeyman. A lot of people have been afraid of him. He's on like a 8-win streak now, and everybody's like, oh, they're so scared of him. But I feel like he might have been quote unquote exposed a little bit last night in that he's not as dangerous as like maybe people have made him out to be. Like, I don't know. Yeah. I didn't see anything last night that I didn't think Anthony couldn't beat. Put it that
way. Okay. Is it the fact that Santos lasted and had some success? Like, because I know.
Maybe that's it. Because when you saw Ankalaev versus right. Thiago had his moments. And when you saw like Ankalaev versus Kudalaba, totally different kind of fight, right? Yeah. And maybe because Kudalaba is a little wild, but Anthony's not going to be wild and crazy. And Anthony's also not afraid. And so the whole thing with Magomed is some people are scared of him or whatever. But like there was nothing that he saw that Anthony was like, I'm not afraid of that. Like I didn't see anything here or like that I can't handle. And if it did go to the ground, Anthony feels like he's a better grappler.
Hey, so there you go. Like the whole boogeyman thing is about the feeling that once it goes to the ground, you're not going to be able to do anything. So that's why the stand-up rounds, you can have their opponent more tentative. Whenever you have that Magomedov type name, Ankalaev,
anything that ends in a V. Right.
Yeah. Anytime you have that type of name, you're like, oh, this guy's gonna fucking take me down, and then I won't be able to stand up until the end of the round when the bell rings, and then your striking goes to shit because every time you're about to throw something, you're like, am I opening up too much in order to get taken down? So
Yeah.
you can have that invisible battle going on, even if the takedown never happens against guys like that who are just known for getting takedowns, and then that's the end of the fight. Basically, you're either stuck there the whole fight or it's finished down there. So
Yeah.
so yeah,
Yeah.
I
It's
like
interesting.
that. I like that Anthony's like, fuck this.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, let's
Anthony was
go.
not worried. Well, Joe Bose is saying
Yeah.
Magomed is one of those fighters, kind of like Valentina, who wins the fight before the cage door shuts. The fact that even with Thiago's head probably not 100%, in the fact Ankalaev couldn't finish him. I mean, that's what I'm saying. So Thiago, I don't know if here's the thing. Thiago's also gave up 9 years, I think, to
Mm.
Magomed. Hold on. Thiago is 38. Magomed's only 29.
And
So he gave up even
also
more.
Thiago has had a pretty rough just history in the UFC because he had that big injury and
His
then he
knees
had
are
to take time
garbage.
off and then he had to come back fighting the best, so he
Right.
like when Santos was on top, he he still had a lot of stuff going on,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just hard to get that back, like it's hard to come back from an injury and still be on top, still be firing as fast as you
Yeah.
were before that happens. And yeah, I don't know, I always feel bad for the top guys who come back, and there's all these new hungry guys who are like
Yeah.
seeing that name and just drooling, like, oh, I'm gonna take that name, I'm gonna put it in my pocket, I'm gonna knock this guy out, I'm gonna get a win over this
Right.
guy, and this is going to mean a lot for my legacy. And meanwhile, the veteran who's already accomplished it, they're like, man, I would just really like to get comfortable,
Totally.
because
Well,
I've
that's
been
the only
out
thing.
for 2 years.
Yeah,
Like,
because he was back. Like Santos came back and had a couple of lackluster fights after John Jones, but then he won. But like he really did have a great first round against Glover, and then Glover turned it around, right?
yeah,
Rakic is a kind of a guy that a lot of the other fighters complain about because they're like, well, Rakic makes you fight boring because he's boring. I'm not saying that this. I'm just quoting some of the other fighters. So like he's boring. You get boring fights with Rakic because Rakic is boring.
Mm.
Um, but so Anthony and Rashad were telling me though, they're like, hey, not for nothing. But Yana, his wife is super pregnant. Yana Kunitskaya, the baby's due like next month. I know Thiago
Oh,
already has a son. Yana has a son. He's like, he's a family man now. And they're like, as much as you want to get back into the thing, and and Thiago was saying he was emboldened by Glover winning the title at 42. They're like, you know what? You can't change the fact that like stuff changes, and when you get a little older and you're a family guy, and like it changes in your motivation or your abilities and how hungry you are, they're like, it just changes, and
yeah,
you can't deny it.
yeah. There's nothing like that, like young energy of just, I'm gonna be something great, I'm gonna change the
Yeah.
world, I'm gonna do all this shit, and then like you hit about 30 something and you're like, uh
Yeah. Well, and
maybe
the other thing is too,
maybe
yeah.
not.
Yeah. Prank game is talking about this. Yeah. So John had destroyed Tiago's knees at 239, but Tiago took him to a split decision. But
Yeah.
literally, this is another thing, and then we can move on to another fight. But this is something that Anthony also conceded as well. And he said, look, it's true. Like there is a hangover effect after you fight John Jones. Like there just
Mm.
is. And that's something that you can't necessarily explain or figure out or whatever. But like after you have that high of having that fight and the title fight and this and that, and a lot of people thought Tiago did this, XYZ, is like you can't help it. There's like a hangover effect.
Yeah, and it's almost like you see what it takes to beat someone like that, and it's like, oof, like
Yeah.
you have your best fight camp of your life probably, because you have a lot more money to spend on resources, so you can pay
Yeah.
fancy nutritionists, you can pay like strength and conditioning coaches, you can fly people out to mimic him perfectly. You'll have your best camp of your life, and you go out there and you do the best that you can, and you still come up
Yup.
short, and you get a ton of damage on top of that physical damage, on top of the mental damage from just being the best athlete you could possibly
Right.
be and still not beating this motherfucker. Like, it has to be really hard as an athlete to come up short, especially when a lot of people thought you won. I don't
Right.
know. I feel like anytime I get like one of those weird split decision losses where there's a bunch of people saying, "Oh, you should have won that. You should have won that." It's nice, but it also makes you feel very helpless,
Hmm.
in the sense that, okay, sometimes my wins won't be merit based, and
Yeah.
it's just like a weird feeling. So I don't know. I can understand that, but on top of that, like, you also value, like, okay, this one fight, I got paid this much, but then I also have to be out for this long in order to
Hmm.
feel 100% healthy for the next fight. There's a lot to say about being able to, what is that saying, fight the next day or something.
Live to fight another day.
Live to fight another day. Exactly. Yeah, there's a lot to say about that. In Thailand,
For sure.
kids, they'll throw fights just so they can fight the next weekend because it's getting kind of hard and they're taking a
Right.
little bit too much damage. They're like, "Oh, you know what? This is hard. Ah,
I think
I'm,
I think
I'm
I'm
done.
good. I
Yeah,
think I'm
yeah, I'm
good.
good.
I
I
think
gotta
I'm
fight
good.
next week. I gotta feed my family.
All right, well, and I want to move on to my next one, and this one ties into who was in K Beast mode. Who
Oh
was in
my
K Beast mode? Wait, lean over. K Beast mode. K Beast mode. K Beast mode. This one, no doubt
I
about it.
didn't
K Beast
realize
mode.
it moved. The
Yeah,
strobe
oh
effect
honey,
is
and we have
really.
overkilled it too. But K Beast
Oh
mode,
my
I'm gonna go first
goodness.
here, and I'm saying my boy Khalil,
Hey, hey,
Khalil
hey,
Rountree,
hey,
dude.
hey.
If I was looking at social media today, people are like, Khalil beat that boy like he stole his lunch money. They were like, the
Dude.
amount of violence and like the commitment. Khalil was on with me and Hanato on Tuesday Night Festivities a couple weeks ago. People should look for that. It was episode 26, and Khalil is a great guy, but he's a very thoughtful guy, right? He was talking about how he went to Thailand, how he was working on his clinch. Like, he's a
Yeah.
person who really believes in the art part of martial artist. He's a
Yes.
very conscientious person and a very thoughtful person, as you also heard on the microphone after with Paul Felder, him talking about how he used to be 300 pounds and suicidal. And,
Yeah.
for folks who don't know, Khalil's dad was murdered. His dad used to manage Boys to Men, and his dad was murdered. Like, Khalil has a really interesting backstory, and a backstory with a lot of heartache in it. And so it was really powerful, I think, what he said on the mic after. But just to see that conviction, like, again, I was sitting out watching that one by the octagon, and I was like, first and foremost, I was impressed with how fast he was. Like, they both seemed to be firing really quickly for light
Yeah.
heavyweights.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, like, really, it just seemed really, really fast. But like the conviction, the look in his eye, like he looked like he was a man on a mission. And so he was just, to me, full on K Beast mode on Saturday, and he got a bonus as well. And I just thought Khalil just did like that. I was like, that's
Dude,
what's
it
up.
was nasty. It was so nasty. And for a second, I was like, "Oh, was that a nut shot? That big kick he threw at him
At the end,
that kind of ended the fight."
yeah,
But it was all gut, all ribs, and horribleness.
and it
And
sounded
man,
terrible.
oh, and the fact that Carl moved, like, he moved his body, and this is a good, very, very accomplished fighter. Like, he's one of these
Yeah.
new guys who have done a lot in the few fights that they've had, gotten
Mhm.
finishes over people that a lot of people counted him out against. So that's why Khalil was an underdog in this fight,
Mhm.
and Khalil just took it to him. I mean, Khalil has a way of showing up when he's the underdog too. I
Yeah.
feel like when the betting lines are kind of even, then the fight isn't as I don't know, just dramatic. But whenever Khalil is the underdog, like that fight against the kickboxer,
Gokhan Saki.
yes, the Saki fight, he was a huge underdog in that one too, and he took it to him. Man, it was so nasty, but also so satisfying to watch, because I always say, like, to kickboxers, like, dude, MMA is such a different sport. Like, it's so different. Like,
Yeah.
this, even if it stays on the feet, it's different. So
Yeah.
that was really cool to watch. And Khalil showed up and he showed out, and that was a really heartwarming message at the end of that fight. Like, yeah, good choice.
Yeah. Okay. Well, does that mean we know who overkilled it?
I
Do we know
mean,
who overkilled it this week?
that's like that was my pick, but I feel like I should pick someone else. So let me
I
just
just like showing this graphic, so I'm just gonna keep hitting it because
okay, just keep hitting it. Keep hitting it. I'm gonna say that let's
well,
see who I got. I'm gonna say that David Jackson was pretty cool, but
David Jackson got the sub in the second round.
he was pretty cool getting that sub. But you know what? I'm gonna say that Drew Dober. I know we already talked about him, but I'm gonna say Drew Dober overkilled it.
Overkilled it.
He overkilled it. He overkilled it. He came back from the dead. He came back from the dead and he put it on the young buck and he showed him what it means to be a ranked UFC fighter. Dude, like
He did.
Dober is another one who shows out sometimes when he's
He
the
really does.
underdog, and he's the underdog a lot. And I think it just comes
Yeah.
from we're kind of in the same boat. We're these people who have just been in the UFC forever,
Mhm.
win some, lose some. So when you come up against a fighter that's kind of hot right now, everyone's like, "Oh, you're dead. You're dead. They're gonna die. They're gonna die." Like when I was about to fight Lemos, everyone's like, "Oh, she's
Right.
dead. She's gonna die." She said, and guess what? No,
Right.
I'm not.
That-
So that's why I feel like Dober overdid it, overkilled it because
yeah.
he pulled an overkill. He got dropped a few times and he came back,
He
and
totally did.
he was just like, "Hey, I'm cool. I'm chilling. My legs still work. I'm not wobbly anymore. I'm not doing Bambi legs, and now I'm gonna punch you in the face." So that was really
Yep.
cool to watch. That was again the most exciting first round I've seen in a long time. I'm gonna say go on record and say most exciting first round of the year. So Drew Dober overkilled it.
That was awesome. Well, listen, he Omega agrees with you. Granite Chin Dober was
Yeah, there you go.
amazing. Yeah,
Yes.
no, absolutely. I agree. And see, and yeah, Khalil gave that champ speech. Absolutely. So
Yeah, he
listen, yeah,
did.
Trady 80 saying Khalil versus Jiri. If we see that someday, that would be bananas. I mean,
That would
obviously
be so
Jiri
cool.
Jiri is fighting Glover, but yeah, that would be amazing. But yeah, and Dean D, he's talking about super champs. So here's the whole thing. Like I said, uh, I mean not Dean, Khalil was on Tuesday Night Festivities with me and Hanato, and he has that whole super champ clothing line, and he was talking about how
Okay.
they're changing some stuff, and they were going to do the Supa and the Champ, so the SU from Supa and the CH from Champ, and they were going to change it to like SUCH and the whole super champ thing. He was moving some stuff, kind of doing some changes with his line, but yeah, people should look at that show with Khalil because it was really cool. But he's a good ass dude, and he learned like he used to be Anderson Silva's like training partner and stuff, and back in the day, and he used to train with Machida and all this stuff, and so it's really exciting to me to see Khalil like coming into his
Yeah.
own and doing all that. So
And he used to be like, obese. He used to
obese,
be
yes,
300 pounds. So
yep,
if anyone's out there watching this and they want to get in shape, like look at Khalil's story because he literally just found something that he loves to do. And
yep,
that's how I found Muay Thai because I wasn't into working out at all, but I realized I was getting a little out of shape and things were harder to
yep,
do now that I'm older. And I started doing Muay Thai and it was great. And I never liked working out before. Like I never
yeah,
like I was telling my mom the other day how I remember where when I couldn't do bicycle sit-ups. You know the one where you
oh
hit the
yeah,
elbow to the knee.
really.
And I could
I
do
can't
like
imagine you ever not being in shape. Like that doesn't
I could
compute in
do
my
like
brain.
5 and then my stomach would go, "Nope, you're done. You're done." Like I was skinny fat. I had no ab muscles. I had no muscles anywhere. I was just a little fucking stick. I
I
used to
can't
call
even imagine.
I looked like the coffee monsters from Men in Black. You remember that? They had like
Yes.
the little ET belly. That's what I used
They
to
had
call
the little
myself.
pooch, right?
Yeah, they had like these long, skinny
Long
arms
arms and
and
stuff.
legs
They were like,
and,
"Hey, what's up?" And
and a
yeah,
little
and
pooch.
yeah, "What's
That's what
up,
I used to
Kay?"
say I
Yeah,
looked like when I was out of shape, but I still wanted to go to the beach. So that was my impetus to getting into fighting because I just wanted to get in shape. And like anyone who is bored by working out, I think learn how to fight definitely has its benefits because you're working out, but you're also learning something. So the working out part is like secondary.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So, oh well, Omega said they can do 2 push-ups now, so that's good. Okay.
Hey, let's
Okay, so
go.
on the main card, I
Good
guess the other
job,
ones,
Morgan.
Sadiq Youssef picked up a UD over Caceres, um, and Alex Pereira picked up a UD over Bruno Silva. But that fight was very competitive. Bruno Silva blindado, which means armored, shield and whatever. Blindado was giving it to him as well as he was taking it. Like, I think a lot of people thought Pereira was just going to go in there and blast him and whatever. And we saw that really cool knee knockout at 268 and in New York. And we know he's trained by Glover. And I think a lot of people were like, oh, Pereira's going to come in here and light him up. And Blindado was like, not tonight. It's not going to be that easy. It was a very competitive fight and like a very competitive fight, I thought.
I didn't get to watch that one.
It was good.
But I need to because I don't know. There's been mixed reviews. Like I heard some people saying it was a little boring. Some people were like, "Oh, well, this is what happens when two skilled fighters fight." So I want to watch it to get my own opinion on it. But as long as he's winning, he's still on that line to fight Adesanya. Like that's all that really matters. Like as long as he's winning, as long as he's getting a W every time he walks out there, even if it's a decision, he's on his way to fight. And I did see some highlights where he was just dropping his opponent left and right. Like this dude has power. He has power in his hands. It's scary. It's nasty. So yeah, I'm excited about the potential of that future matchup for sure.
I will say this. I was a little, and maybe some of the critique, I can understand how there might have been some critique there because there were times where, like I said, where I think a lot of people just expected or they just wanted to see Alex going crazy, and Blindado is better than that, right? So like, because that guy came in on 3 finishes in a row. Like Bruno Silva's like, he's not a chump, you know what I mean? And so it's like he came in with 3 finishes in a row. He's a finisher himself. And so he was given as good as he can get. Like, I think what it was for me, it was that looking that, Bruno had to, like extend himself a little bit more to get that reach in. Like, Alex is all leg. Like when you saw them standing next to each other, I swear to God, it was like Pereira's legs started at like Blindado's chest. Like I was like,
his head.
Crap. Yeah. Like the dude Pereira's all leg. And so to me, it did look like, Bruno has to sort of overextend and reach a little more to try to get in there. But the guy was fearless. He wasn't afraid. He went for it, and it was a competitive fight. And I think that's what it was, is there were times when I thought that Pereira maybe just looked, not like that. He wasn't ready to go. Like he was less explosive in this fight. He was less a lot of things. And I think that's because Bruno was putting it on him too. You know what I mean? He wasn't like waiting to get knocked out. You know what I mean?
Exactly. There's a respect there for the power. You can't just like run into something because obviously there are consequences.
Right. Yeah. Well, and listen to this. Dean D, you bring up a good question. What's going to happen when Light-Skinned Heart fights Khalil? You are right. Who do we root for? Team Light-Skinned? Because that's the whole thing is Anthony is the homie and he's on with us a lot on Tuesday nights. But Khalil,
Light-Skinned Heart.
I know we do. We named him Light-Skinned Heart. I mean, it's tough. Let's hope it doesn't ever happen. Let's hope it doesn't ever happen that friends fight friends. Okay, so was there any other takeaways from Saturday's card, Ange, before we move on to London?
In the meantime, we can put Omega on timeout because that's not the type of show we are, Omega. We are respectful. So
what did they say?
Breaks right there. Hey, there she is.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So listen, was there any other takeaways? Our girl Sabina Mazo was on the show with us a couple weeks ago. Sabina had a tough go. We know Miranda's really good. I know Sabina was, she was working with Glover Teixeira as well. Alex Pereira does as well. I know she was hoping to show more off. The first round was competitive. It's, Miranda's a little tank. She's a little tank. I think that has a lot to do. I know, Sabina just didn't seem to be able to get her game off as much as Miranda.
Yeah, Miranda is a tank. And the tough thing about fighting tanks is that you can't kick them. Like Sabina's main weapon is her kicks, like
Mhm.
her kick arsenal. She sets up
Yeah.
good leg kicks, good head kicks. Like her legs are very educated. But the problem with fighting a tank like that is anytime you lift your leg, you can get taken down because they
Yeah.
just come in. They come past the point of impact where it's gonna actually make a difference. They rush past that and they're able to grab a leg, and then you're on one leg, they have your other leg. The takedown's actually super easy from there.
Mhm.
So when you fight someone, that's why I used to hate fighting short people, because it just pissed me off how they can just, no matter what I'm doing, if I'm punching, if I'm kicking, they just go, zoop, they just
Yeah.
like slip under the radar and take you down, get to your legs, get to your hips somehow. And with Sabina's arsenal, like if she's like really heavy naturally, it's
Mhm.
hard to fix that for a certain fight, like against someone like that. I would probably just try to box for the most part, every now and then throw a knee, but even those I
Mhm.
would throw sparingly, because they will eat a knee and almost get knocked out by a knee to the body to take you down and sit on
Mhm.
you. Like it's worth it, you know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
think that was the biggest issue for Sabina during that fight. It was competitive on the feet, but once it went to the ground, yeah, Maverick was just all over her. She just looked more comfortable down there. She transitioned to the back really quickly, and yeah, that's the way it goes sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Traviator saying Miranda showed a lot of progress, and that was a dominant win. I mean, I gotta give it up to Miranda. I don't have anything against Miranda, but I was rooting for Sabina. Come on.
I mean, yeah, that's a girl. Like she trained with me a couple times. She's just, a very sweet girl. Like I don't know.
Sweet
There's
girl.
nothing there's
I
nothing I
know,
can hate
like
about.
it's just I don't know Miranda. It's not I don't have anything against
Yeah.
her. I just really like Sabina.
But I will say Miranda was good on the mic. Like I was
She was good.
I was
She was good.
impressed. I was like a little sour that she beat my girl, but as she was talking,
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I guess I'm a little
Okay,
less mad.
okay. No, I know. It's so
She
funny.
was
I'm like
good on the
reluctant.
mic. Yeah, no,
I'm like,
she knows how to talk. So Miranda definitely
whatever.
has like, she definitely has like that star potential.
Yeah, I
But
know.
but yeah, I
But
want to see some
what?
head kick knockouts. That's my problem. I
Well,
like the
that was
head
what
kick
I
knock.
wanted. Yeah, I really wanted Tiago, not for nothing. I mean, Tiago does a lot of things right. If we're talking, that
Yeah.
boy's fine. But I'm not trying to
Yeah.
get Yana Kunitskaya to beat me up, so I'm not gonna.
Oh, she knows.
That's why she locked that down. She was like,
Yeah, she
and lock.
knows. She's like,
Oh,
what can I
speaking
say?
speaking of fine, I saw Ilir Latifi at the show.
Oh, what? Oh, wait, what did they call him when he was on that horse? There's like a, a
Yeah,
nickname floating around. I
I
forget the
know.
nickname, but like, yeah. Was he on a horse or no?
No, he was just at the Apex. He did not ride a horse into the
Oh,
Apex.
I'm disappointed.
But he told me that I look good.
Oh, nice. I mean, I always had a hunch he was into chocolate.
I know. I think he
It was
is.
funny. There was one day,
I think he
I
is.
think it was UFC. I forget if it was Madison. Yeah, it was. I think it was Madison Square Garden a few years ago, like maybe 2019 or something.
Yeah.
And it was the first time I had worn braids in a long time. And I
Yeah.
saw him like hanging out like with his phone, like just like hanging out like next
Yeah.
to the arena. And I came up to him, I was like, yo, and he was like, oh, Angie. Like he probably thought I was some crazy like
Right.
fan that thought he was
Yeah.
hot
Yeah.
or
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever. It's like, oh the Lord, here we go again. But he said I look nice too.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I've interviewed
Once
him
he
several
realized
times.
I wasn't a crazy fan.
Right. That you weren't a crazy fan. I do remember the first time I interviewed him and I was like, oh my God. Like I did not know Alir was fine like that. And like he has that way of like, when you talk to him and he's just like, like he looks you right in the eye.
He is
And he's
intense.
like holding my hands and he's just like, you
Is he
look,
squeezing them?
yeah.
Is
And
he
he's like,
squeezing your hands?
you look great. And like looks and I'm like, I like, and
Uh,
like there's times when some people look at you and you feel violated, and I was just no, I was like, take it all in, baby.
oh
Drink
my
it in,
god.
Alir. Drink it in.
Yeah, get it, get it. Take me on your horse and take me away. um, what I will, he has like that. What do you? What was the tribe in like Game of Thrones? The one that
Oh, I didn't watch that show, but because
yeah,
he's
the one that
from.
the dragon, whatever
Yeah,
queen
I
was,
didn't
a
watch Game of
Khaleesi
Thrones.
was a part of, but he has like that energy, like the one. I always want to call him Dagestani,
Doesn't say no, but he's
but
from
it's like a
he's
fake
from
tribe.
wait, because I've interviewed him a bunch of times. He's from not Latvia, or is it Latvia?
Lithuania?
No, he's not Lithuanian. It might be Latvia.
I
He's
can look it up real quick.
I forget where he's from, but he trains in Sweden a lot of the time, but he's not Swedish necessarily.
Hmm.
But I'm blanking on it. That sucks. But because we were talking about when he goes home to his own country, he's always riding his big horses and all this stuff. Anyway, it was nice to see him.
Right in his
There was a
big
lot of
horse.
it was
Sweden?
it was well, like I said, he trains in Sweden, but he's not Swedish necessarily. But
It
and
says
yes,
nationality Swedish on
he
his
kind of is.
Wikipedia, but he could be
Yeah,
from
he
somewhere.
is, and he trains there and stuff like that. Anyway, it was great to see. It was great to see Alir.
Uh,
Yeah, it was great to see Alir for sure.
yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so
How great was it? Uh,
it was nice.
it was really
But
nice.
speaking of really fun things, Angie.
Oh,
Speaking of really awesome things, guess what? Boom! UFC London is coming up.
whoa!
Wait,
Oh
lean
wait!
over. Hey,
Whoa!
UFC London. Wait, let's show it again. Wait, UFC London.
Whoa!
Wait, hold it. Okay, so here's the thing. I want to try. I thought if I changed our format, right? I was like,
Oh,
wait,
then we
I
won't have
can.
to lean as far.
I know. Wait, because
Now
literally,
put
I
it
was
up
like,
there.
wait, this is supposed to. I'm just trying. Just humor me, folks. Humor me and see if this shows it any
We
differently.
will not humor you. We
Does this
will.
show it any differently now? Yeah. See, look it now. It's to the
Whoa! Okay, there we
yes.
go. Yeah, I
Okay,
like
wait, and
that.
then let me hide this. Boom. Okay. So now we can look at the card
Oh,
together, and I could play my little video thing. Okay, and I made a little. I mean, whatever.
wow!
Okay, whatever. Okay, but listen.
Wow!
So we got at the top of the thing here, and I thought the little
I'm so
thingy would go.
impressed right now.
I mean, I'm trying. I'm
Yo,
really
like
trying.
this is
But
top-notch Minority Report technology that you're using.
swiping it over. Volkov versus Aspinall. Pimblett versus Vargas. Arnold Allen versus Dan Hooker, which is fire at 45.
Okay, yeah.
Shamila Durakimov versus Sergey Pavlovich. Nikita Krylov versus Paul Craig. Gunnar Nelson versus Takashi Sato. That's a
Okay.
pretty fun card.
Yeah, I'm dope. I'm excited. I'm dope. I'm
I'm
excited
dope. You
about the
are
dope.
dope, but you're
I'm
also
dope, but I'm
excited about it.
excited about the dope card. Like
The dope
that's what I
card.
was
The
trying to
dope card. Yeah. Okay. So listen. Yeah. So here we go again. Let me just stick it up here in a minute. So what are you
say.
most excited about? I know people are very excited to see Patty Pimblett come back. I mean, I'm excited to see Tom
Yes.
Aspinall because Aspinall is a guy who, ever since he came to the UFC, he's had that future champ vibe about him. And he's won these fights. He's looked great doing it. And I've gotten to interview him and speak to him in the fighter meetings over on Fight Island and all this stuff. Like everything about Tom Aspinall is working for me. He's got a great team with him being at Team Calbon. Like he's got a really good head on his shoulders. When you talk to this kid, it's like he knows he's the future, but at the same time, like he's cognizant of it. He doesn't want to rush it. He didn't want to go too fast. All of us were like,
Nice.
you're the future, right? There's a lot of people that get that moniker of like, you're the future, and they get fast tracked into, headlining fights. He's like, no, I want to take my time. I want to work my way. I want to earn it. To me, it's like Aspinall is just a perfect example of somebody doing everything right.
Yeah, and that's really impressive because like he has every right to act like he's ready to take on top the top people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's good that he waited, because a lot of times you'll get that opportunity and you'll blow it for whatever reason, whether it's like experience or just making a silly mistake, like like what we saw with Terrence McKinney.
Yeah.
It was a fight that was very winnable that didn't get won. And a lot of times when you see a Tom Aspinall, those fights can happen when you rush into a high level fight against someone more experienced, and you have all the
Mm-hmm.
talent to beat them, but you don't have that experience factor. So
Yeah.
it's cool that he's been like that. And I think this is a great matchup for him. I think it's
Mm-hmm.
perfect timing. And he's just, yeah, he has been doing everything right. He's one of those fast guys at
Mm-hmm.
that weight class. He's able
Yes.
to like transition from striking to takedowns seamlessly. So he's definitely someone that would be exciting as a champion as well. It's just a matter of him making his way up there. So I'm all for it. I'm a Aspinall. I'm on the Aspinall train.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
I'm excited
all in for Aspinall.
for Aspinall. Yeah, I'm
I'm Aspinall
Aspen
in.
all in. I'm Aspen all in.
Aspinall
I'm
in.
Aspen all in. I like him a lot, and he's got a nice sense of humor about him too. And we joke about it like that. He looks like a young Frank Mir. Like he's just a good dude. Like, and here,
Yeah.
and I guess that's the thing about the London trip is this was the first trip that got canceled for me. So the London trip to me is
Ah.
a real symbolic thing for me, feeling like we're coming out of the COVID, because I was in Brasilia in March of 2020, and
Mm,
I was working that show, and that was Kevin Lee versus Charles Oliveira, and
dang.
we were all down in Brasilia, and we were like, okay, COVID is starting. And I remember people watching the videos of people hoarding toilet paper. And we
Mhm,
were in
mhm.
Brazil, and in Bisping starts taking Brazilian hotel toilet paper, because we were like, oh, stop. We were looking at no, dude. We were looking at the videos at home, and we're like, there's no toilet paper in America.
That's
So
so
he's taking like
funny.
Brazilian
I
hotel
would have
toilet
taken
paper.
the hand sanitizer, because I didn't realize when I was in New Zealand. I'm not sure if that was before or after the Brasilia card, but when I was in New Zealand, they were hoarding hand sanitizer. There were signs. Excuse
Bless
me.
you.
Excuse me. There were signs at the grocery store when we would go get our like fight week meals or whatever,
Yeah.
saying only take one hand sanitizer. So that's how close my New Zealand fight was to when everything shut down. I think my New Zealand
Wow.
fight was in February, and then
Yeah.
everything shut down in California in March.
Right.
So
Yeah.
so yeah, I'm not sure if Brasilia happened before or after, but things were happening. Like we were there were cards scheduled that got canceled a week before
Well,
everyone
that was the
flew
whole
out.
thing. Yeah, we were in Brazil, and I was obviously, as I love London, so I was really excited to go to London. And I remember being in Brazil, and everything was starting to blow up. And then the boss is like, "Well, they canceled the desk to London," and I was like,
Me.
I was pissed, because at first it was like, okay, the
Yeah.
fight's still going to happen, but we're just not sending the people, and it's going to be streamlined thing. And at that point, literally, I was like, I hope the whole show gets canceled. Because
Oh
I was just
no,
mad. I was and it was supposed to be like
Aaron.
Tyron versus Leon or whatever or something, and I was like, I was just mad. So I was like, F everybody. And then it did all get canceled. But
Yeah,
so anyway,
probably
to
because of
me,
you.
probably because I put, as my mom would say with her Jamaican, I put the goat mouth on it. I
Oh no! You
I
put the
put the
bad.
goat mouth on it. I put the
What's
goat
the
mouth on it. Um,
what is the thing that they call in Jamaican, like the voodoo thing, but it's not called
Yeah,
voodoo, right?
there's the obia. There's the obia woman
Obia,
that put
yes,
like
that's what it is. Yeah, you put the bad obia on
I put the
it.
goat mouth on it, and but I'm not
Yeah.
putting goat mouth on it or anything. But anyway, so I remember that of like, so to me, the London trip feels very symbolic. It feels like this means to me that we're putting like the COVID BS. I know it's not 100% behind us, but to me, I'm very excited to go. So I leave on Tuesday night.
Yeah.
And so for those asking, we don't have a Tuesday night festivities this week because I'm flying. My flight is right at the time that we would usually do the show, but Hanato might do a live chat on his own, but
Okay.
just stay tuned for that. But yeah, so I'm really looking forward to it. Patty Pimblett is on this one. Our girl Molly
Yeah.
McGann is on it.
Yeah, Molly.
Hey,
Yes,
so you
that'll be
rolled with
dope.
Paul Craig at some point too, didn't you? You submitted him, didn't you?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I totally submitted
You
him.
totally submitted Paul Craig.
Yeah, I taught him a few things. I taught him how to break arms, which he
So
ended up
you taught
using
him
in his
that thing
fight.
that he pulled on Jamal Hill. You taught him
Yeah,
that,
I
right?
taught him that. I taught him that. I'm very accomplished as a purple belt. I'm currently a purple belt. So, Paul
You
Craig,
can
if you
teach
want any
205ers
more
how to submit.
lessons, yeah, if you want any more lessons, I'm available.
Just curious,
Zoom me.
how much did you enjoy that role?
I felt very helpless. I was like, start doing something.
He
I'm
weighs
like,
like how much?
oh,
Like
I
100 and
got.
something pounds heavier than you. Like
I'm like,
literally, like
oh,
100
I
and
got
something.
something. I like do 2-on-1 on his arm, and then he just like lifts me up. Like maybe I should let go. Oh no, my feet are dangling.
For those who don't know, Angie got to roll with Paul Craig at some point, right? Because your husband is Scottish as well. So you were
Yeah,
over there
yeah.
and you were
We were
rolling
in the
with him and you fully
motherland.
submitted him, right? Yeah.
Yes, it was a I don't know, a fucking Barca guard to the um rolling oh my Gotti I don't know. I can't even make up jujitsu stuff. No, he's
Right.
super skilled. He was super
Yeah.
gentle, and it was really cool. It's fun rolling with people that
Yeah.
you can trust right off the bat. Like you
Yeah.
can't do that with every big guy,
Right.
especially even
I know we're
even at that
kidding
level.
around it, but it is a really, like you said, yeah, it is a really good
No,
thing
it's
to do.
it's really cool that he is so controlled and he is so knowledgeable because like someone like me can roll with them and I can try, and he can just be like, I'm just gonna, gently place you away from what you were trying to do and then fuck you up, but
Yeah.
gently so that you're not hurt afterwards. It was
Right.
it was really funny, but I enjoyed training with him and it was really cool getting insight from his coach as well, Brian.
Yeah.
They have a good solid squad out there,
Mhm.
and a lot of times you see like the team success from a more unknown, like smaller gym where they've
Mhm.
just been grinding and grinding, and eventually someone gets that opportunity. And I feel like for is Scottish Hit Squad is the
Yep.
name. I feel like for them, it was Paul Craig. He got that
Mhm.
opportunity, and it just lit a fire under all the people who were training with Paul to
Yep.
just become greater and get to that next level. And it's cool to see that in places where you don't see it a lot. Like in Vegas,
Right.
you can't spit without hitting an MMA gym, an
Yeah.
accomplished MMA gym. But when you go to somewhere like Scotland, especially where they are, it's not like really a big
Yeah.
city. It's not Glasgow. It's not
Right.
Edinburgh. It's kind of on the outskirts. Then it's cool to see that success still happen. So yeah, I'm excited for you because I wanted to go too, and you're
Yeah.
gonna be hanging out with those guys. So I'm a little
Yep.
jealous because Scottish people, like, I don't know. I feel like I have a connection to them because I've drank with my husband for so many years.
Yes.
Like that, I'm like, I'm on Scottish people's level. So it
Well,
is
me
always
too.
fun for me to
Yeah,
hang
well,
out.
and that's the whole
Yeah.
thing. And to your point, 100%. Like Brian, who is the coach at Scottish Hit Squad, like they just moved into a new space. It looks like they just got a bigger
Yeah, it
space.
looks really nice. Yeah.
It does look really nice. And that's what's cool. Like when we were over on Fight Island, and different places, he is able to sometimes bring these up and coming fighters along. And you're 100% right. Like Paul is kind of helping show these younger guys like how it's done and
Yeah.
what they're learning with him on the way. And so he's got a couple of kids, handsome Michael Blair, he's just a real nice kid. But that it's great because yeah, they're building this thing organically. And yeah, like Scotland is, of course, not really been on the map before for fighting. There
Yeah.
was Stevie Ray and stuff like that, but it's cool to see that they're doing something special, and obviously Jojo Calderwood as well, or just Jojo Wood now. But yeah, it's cool. So I'm excited to see those guys, and I know they're going to be representing. But yeah, like our girl Molly McGann is going to be there, and she's working so hard. We got Patty. I'm totally excited to see Dan Hooker going back to 45 to face Arnold Allen, because Dan Hooker is a freaking G. Like I'm such a big Dan Hooker fan. I'll watch that dude fight any and every day. Like I love that dude.
Don't tell Paul Felder.
I know. Felder's coming to work with me. Felder's on the show, actually. Felder's working with us.
I'm sure he's a fan too.
Of course
but,
he is.
Because of the close fights that he's been in recently, or just the what do you call it? The
Makhachev.
Competitive fights he's been in recently, is easy to forget that he's a G.
He's
so
a G.
It's so easy to forget for the very goldfish brained MMA fan.
Right.
So remind the people how much of a G Hooker.
So yeah, Dan, that's the whole thing, is like Dan Hooker, he fought Islam Makhachev, but like this is a guy who was in there, with Paul Felder. He's fought like the best of the best. Dan Hooker is a guy that just shows up and throws down. Like there's no like boring Dan Hooker fight. It just doesn't exist. He's a person who put like his family life on hold and all this stuff, because down there in New Zealand, like they had such a hard time with COVID and the protocols of like when he could train and when he could go home, and they'd go and fight. There'd be weeks at a time that he couldn't go back home and everything. Like this dude just like lives for the fight and is such a G.
Yeah.
Massive fan. Massive fan.
And so much respect for someone who is just, so willing to fight, because once you get to that level, it's easy to just chill with your number, like it's easy to just chill, not fight, not compete, and just hang on to that number for dear life. And he's always been a gamer, whether he's coming off of a win, coming off of a lose, he's always ready to scrap.
Exactly. Well, so Joe Boza here saying, Dan Hooker's returning to featherweight versus number 7, Arnold Allen. That's his sleeper fight. Close second sleeper fight is Paul Craig versus Nikita Krylov. And that's the whole thing, is like on that one, we're going to find out who's the best grappler at light heavyweight, perhaps. But Paul's been on a tear. And for those who don't know, Paul is the last one to beat Magomed Ankalaev. So that whole thing about Ankalaev having a 1 on his name. I
know that.
Yeah, no, Paul's the one who beat him. And so
nice.
And it was a submission. It was like at 4:58. It was a last minute thing. And so that's the whole thing with Ankalaev having that one defeat. It's the Paul.
A little chip on his shoulder. Nice. I love it.
Yeah.
I love the drama.
Yes. I know. We're here for all the smoke.
Yeah.
All the smoke.
All the tea.
Hey, what somebody is asking here, that Paul, why don't we have a notch and overkill on the festivities? Angela, have you or have you not been invited to the festivities after parties, Angela?
I have been invited, but it's Tuesday. I have to wake up early for training. Y'all are killing me, man. Y'all are trying to get my knees busted, and festivities feels like a peer pressure session, because you guys are like having a good time, having some beverages, having a little chillax session. And I'm like, I need to recover. It's the middle of the week. What you need to do is have a Saturday night festivity.
Well, we will. I want to add
because I could do that
happy hour. Yeah, I want to add a happy hour and stuff like that. And so, but so you're right, because I know you get up early on Wednesday, and for example, so Max Payne Griff comes on with us sometimes. But Max Payne Griff actually has a fight at UFC Columbus, and so he's been spotty because same thing. He's got to train and recover and this and that, Anthony and this and that. So we're like, okay, I get that you guys actually have a real job of fighting. But so when Max Payne Griff,
easy to forget,
exactly. Because, but after his fight, I think he's going to be on with us more. So for those who don't know, the invitation is always out there for my girl. It's just a question of whether or not she can come, because her training and her day job of being an actual fighter, blah blah blah.
I have to not feel like
blah
shit.
Blah blah.
Wednesdays are hard.
I know. All right. Well, Ange, is there anything you want to get to before we get out of here? But people are talking about, they're liking the Allen fight, the Arnold Allen Hooker fight is going to be fun. Once again, here, let me show just again for one real quick thing. This is the UFC London card. So I'm actually very excited to see Gunnar Nelson back in action. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Because it's been a long time since we've seen Gunnar. So I'm excited to see Gunnar back. Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Yeah, and I'll just reiterate, Molly McCann is fighting. She's always a fight of the night contender. So
Yeah,
make
she
sure to
is.
watch her. And she's gonna be super amped because she's on the same card as Patty Pimblett. They've been training together. And who knows what they're actually saying, but it's fun to try to translate. Like
The Scousers.
the
Yeah.
Scouser thing, like it's so entertaining to me. I don't know why. I think just because I didn't know that accent existed until recently. So
Yeah.
it's
It's fun. Well, between the Scousers
really
and the
fun.
Scots, because I have a
Yeah,
pretty good ear, and I think I can understand a lot of stuff because there have been times when they were going to have Paul and at the desk or to have him interviewed, and people are like, I don't know what he's saying. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't know what he's saying? They're like, yeah, I don't know what he's saying. And I'm like, because to me, it doesn't sound that hard to understand, but
Yeah.
I know that a lot of people don't understand what they're saying.
Well, I always say it. Scottish sounds a lot like Jamaican.
Exactly.
The accents sound very similar. So you're bred to understand what Scotsmen are saying. It's just in your blood. Scottish and Irish, like all the rolling the R's, probably same like what do you call it? Idioms or whatever you go.
Idioms and the same idioms and the same path. It's true because it's very similar. And I've said it before, I did my DNA, I am part Scottish, and my mom's maiden name is a Scottish name. And it's exactly that. Like when I went to Ireland years ago, yeah, I could totally understand them because the rhythm of the accent was very much like Jamaican patois, and I totally understood them. And yeah, a lot of people I was working with, they were like, I have no idea what they said. And I'm like, yeah, no, I get it. And I guess you do have to listen. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Some of the times, like when Brian or the other guys in the crowd, I'm like, I missed that one. I don't know what you said. Like, so let me know what that means. But like, did you see how cute was this when Patty the other day? Patty was at the soccer game, and he was at a soccer game, and he's like, look at me with the BT Sport. And he had like the microphone. He's like, it's a belter. Like that phrase, it's like a belter. Like that's the funniest thing to me. But like Patty was so cute. He was so excited that he had a BT Sport microphone. And he's like, look at Patty making the big time. And it was like, it was so cute to see him talk in third person about him making it big. But it was so endearing and sweet.
Yeah.
I love it.
It really is cute. It really is cute.
I love
it. Let's go, Patty. Oh, I ordered a Patty wig. So you guys better put your orders in too. I don't know if mine's gonna get here before UFC London, but it better, or I'm gonna want my money back, Patty.
Nice. Well, so that's the whole thing. Yeah, we can. That'll be amazing. So next week we will. Yeah, actually, this is a good heads up. I'll be on my way back. I leave Sunday afternoon there, and I fly back. So I get home Sunday night. So we probably will do the show maybe next Monday instead, right? Because I won't be back from London until I'll be kind of toasty. I leave on Tuesday night. Very much looking forward to it. So we'll be doing. Oh, and here's the good news. We'll be doing UFC Live and the pre-show, but we're doing like an old school actual weigh-in show again, like the old days. So the UFC Live will be like a regular thing, but the pre-show is like, it's going to be me, Dean, Felder, and Laura will all be together at the beginning. And then it's like the old school one where the guys get on the scale and we all like talk about them as they get on the scale.
Yeah.
And then we do like the 20 minutes or so afterwards. So I'm looking forward to it, the old school way. And I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, I am. Oh, Stephen K said we should get Sadiq on the pod. And I'm definitely down for that too. So maybe we could get that on a Monday and get a little victory lap for him. Because great job, man. That was a great fight. It was super tough opponent, and he was able to show out. And then called out. Who did he call out?
He called out Bryce Mitchell. Which is
he called out Bryce Mitchell, so and I'm like, like that's great because people are like Bryce Mitchell, as soon as he said it. So that already says it's the perfect call out right there.
Yep.
So I would be down to get him on the pod. So
that's right. Oh no, Sadiq's super cool. I saw him. Like I really like him. Yeah, I like him a lot. We could definitely get Sadiq on for sure. For
All
sure.
right.
For sure. For
Cool.
sure. All right. Well, so listen, Ange, where can everybody find you on social media?
You can find me at Angie Overkill on Instagram, Twitter, and at Angela Hill MMA on Facebook.
That's not right. Is that right?
That's not well. I never talk about the Facebook one.
I
Forget
don't
the
talk
Facebook.
about Facebook
No more
anyway. That's
Facebook. No more
MySpace.
Facebook. I know, right? It is MySpace. You can also find me at Overkill Hill on TikTok and Sirius Radio Fight Nation, MMA Fight Nation, every Wednesday between 12 and 2 Eastern.
You don't even know. I love that you don't even know. Yeah.
I get there
all
on
right.
time.
All right, cool. Okay, so for me over on, if you're watching this on YouTube, you see it's YouTube/Karyn Bryant. You should hit that subscribe button. It's also Karyn Bryant on Twitter, Karyn Bryant, as in Kobe, no relation, but may he rest in peace. Over on Instagram, it's at KB Heat. And that is usually where we do the Tuesday night festivities. We start off over there and then go to YouTube. But like I said, this week I'm flying. So we don't have a festivities, but we have 27 episodes that you can catch up on. Last week we had Gegard on. The week before we had on Khalil and stuff. Dan Hooker has been on the show before, just speaking of people that have fights coming up. So you could go back and look at the Dan Hooker episode. He's so cool. And he talked all about like New Zealand stuff and like the accents and different things about New Zealand. So yeah, it's a good time to catch up with Dan Hooker. But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting out on the road. This podcast is also on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. And Angie, this is episode 55. Like, we're cranking along.
Yeah. Can't stop the train. Cranking that MMA content out. No, can't.
That's right. That's right. Well, we appreciate all of you guys watching us. We really do appreciate it. And yeah, tell your friends, you know, we're here for all of you. And look at Travis Tabor, best podcast duo ever.
Hey.
Thank you.
Oh wait,
wait, what was that?
I just like doing like the eyes right over it. Like,
right over it.
Oh
wait. Here's another one. Wait.
I don't know.
Wait, here's another one. Yeah, we rock. Thank you, number 16.
Yeah, thanks.
That's right. 216.
Awesome.
All right, cool. Yeah, well, we really do appreciate it. And yeah, tell all your friends about us. You know, we're here every week, usually on Sundays. And we're here just to have a good time. And Angie's got a fight coming up against Vienna Janji Dober. How's your camp going?
Girl. Fuck
that hoe. No, sorry.
It just started. My camp just started. Don't fuck her. Like, no.
I know she's cool. She's cool.
She can fuck whoever she wants, but you know, yeah.
We're rooting for you. She's a nice girl, but we're rooting for
me because I'm nice.
Yeah.
She's not. No, I'm sure she's nice.
She's cool. I think she's cool. Yeah.
She's all right. She's cool. She's okay. She's nice enough
for a girl who's gonna lose a fight.
Yeah, for a girl who I'm not gonna get robbed against because I'm gonna finish her with the elbows or something else or punch or something or kick. Yeah, so yeah, check root for me. Fight camp just started. I wanted to make sure I didn't burn myself out.
Yeah.
So fight camp starts Monday and
cool.
It's going to be a rough week. I'm going to be a little tired and I might not have a beverage next Sunday.
But you can do more than 5 bicycle sit-ups.
Oh yeah, I could do so many, baby. I could do more than 10 push-ups, Kobe. Yeah, I could do more than 10. And yeah, I could do a bunch of those. Core is not a problem anymore.
Nice. Nice. Well, we appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for joining us here. And yeah, let me make sure I have our little video to say our bye-bye video. Yeah. But yeah, we appreciate you guys tuning in. And yeah, thanks. We'll see you on the next one, right?
Yeah, see you guys. Come back.
Bye.
Bye.